So it commences again. We've come a long way, and we are about at that point where we begin to take stock. Good evening, Lagos. Good evening, Nigeria. Good evening, the whole wide world, courtesy of social media and the internet. You may be reaching us from the far-flung corners of the earth, from the remotest parts to the very ends of the earth, if possible, perhaps from outer space. We appreciate you joining us. We thank you very much for being a part of the ride thus far. Welcome to Counter. Only 2 more episodes will follow tonight. We are down to the last 4. After tonight, we'll be down to the last 3 who will come back here tomorrow night, same time, 8 p.m., to contest for the right to be in the final. The final of the contest will be on Tuesday, 8 p.m. So once again, I'd like to say welcome to everybody. Thank you very much for joining us as we take over from the resplendent team of Emmanuel, Ufoma, Chuma, and of course, Honor Kosi. Chuma and Honor will be staying back to join Stella Casts on the night. Sarafina and Bucci all standing by. It would be one of those nights where the contestants have to deal with 4 judges rather than 3, as has been the case in the last stages of this competition. Welcome once again. Let's say welcome to the guys. Bucci is right by me. Good evening, Bucci. How are you?
Good evening, Femi. Nice and a pleasure to be here anytime and any Femi.
Sarafina is looking like a bride. Welcome, Sarafina.
Hi, Femi. I think the reason why you're saying that is because you used to see me put on short and shredded jeans. So whenever you see me on gown, you're like, Sarafina, so you can actually do gown most times.
They wear gown for
yes,
night.
white gown.
They wear gown for night.
Do you have a problem with that?
Femi, see time.
Yeah. Okay. You are the best dressed of us, by the way.
For night.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Time people are going to see.
Bucci, deal with it. Thank
I
you
don't
very
know
much
what's
for coming
Bucci's
and
problem.
for looking so good tonight.
Which are you being jealous now?
For night.
Nobody is stopping you from shooting your shots.
No.
Let's carry on.
Sarafina is the one that will lick me up, sir. Sarafina is the
All right, welcome. And so those are the 2 guys who join the cast. Would say balance brought forward of Chuma Noli and Honor Kosi. Chuma, how far?
I'm good, Femi.
Yeah.
Great to be here.
I saw the expression on your face when you gave that torturous speech about going all the way to 10. Don't worry, I promise you, I will release you at 9:59.
Nice one. Great to be here, really.
All right.
An opportunity to have to share wisdom with these great talents who work so hard to get to this stage of the fan battle contest. And it's also a learning process, even for those of us who think that we have been in the profession for years, because it's a profession where we learn new things every day. So it's great to be here.
Fantastic. Honor, are you primed for this?
Yes, certainly, Femi. Good evening to you, and good evening once again to Lagos. And as just to echo what Chuma said, it's another opportunity to learn from this wonderful contestants here today.
All right, so time for us to meet the wonderful contestants. Just before we meet them, a quick reminder that there are 4 contestants tonight. Whoever wins, and there are 2 battles, the winners will qualify automatically to the penultimate round of the contest. The losers, well, one of them will leave the contest tonight. The 3 qualifiers will be back here tomorrow for a final campaign style debate. Tomorrow night, the 3 successful candidates tonight will be putting forth their ideas on how to turn the Nigerian Professional Football League around. They've been contesting. If you remember, if you followed the last contest, it was about who could run sports. Who of these young men, man and women, has what it takes the ideas, fresh ideas to run sports in the land. We were blown away by some of the ideas put forward, and we are proud of it. So tomorrow, barring just the one contestant who fails tonight, they will have an opportunity to tell us, if they had the opportunity, what would they do for the Nigerian Professional Football League to help it compete with the leagues abroad. You don't want to miss that tomorrow night. So let's meet the first 2 or 4 contestants tonight. Contestant number 1 for the first battle, Segun Ola, nicknamed Segun Fresh, is an architect who supports Man City and MFM FC, lives somewhere in Ikeja in Lagos. He's El Shagari on Twitter. Good evening, Segun. How are you?
Good evening, Femi, and good evening to the panel of judges. It's good to be here again.
How about moderator and accurate timekeeper?
Nah.
Okay. All right. His opponent. Well, the delectable LABAKE Raji, we call her LABAKE, young banker who supports Arsenal. I was almost going to say where she works. We'll spare that information. Who supports Arsenal and MFM. They both support the same local teams, Segun and LABAKE. LABAKE lives somewhere in Shasha Konwojo in Lagos. On Twitter, she is omolabake_Raji. On Instagram, she is Raji Omolabake. Good evening, LABAKE. How are you?
Good evening, Femi. Good to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Are you ready for this tonight?
Absolutely.
Good. After tonight, the next time you'll do the head-to-head, one-on-one head-to-head will be in the final. And I'm hoping you guys both want to be there. Right?
Yes.
Well, I'm sure all the 4 contestants here want to be there. It will be down to your performance tonight and tomorrow night. The journey to the final on Tuesday gets even more intense. So let's get into the reason why we're here tonight. We'll save some time and go straight into it. For those who may be joining the contest for the first time, it's pretty simple. These 2 individuals, Segun and LABAKE, go head-to-head in a debate. We give them 1 minute to lay out their arguments and an additional 5 minutes to go head-to-head and argue it out amongst themselves or between themselves. After that, we'll give them a minute each to put the arguments to bed, after which it will be time for judgment. It sounds funny, but we'll put it to a vote. The audience will vote via the phone lines, via Facebook, and via Twitter. The panel will vote here. We will collate all the votes, and may the best man or woman win. So here we go. If you are going to be a part of the votings tonight, you know the number 012770993, 012771993, 012772993, and 012773993. If you'd like to vote on Twitter, at Nigeria Info FM, at Nigeria Info FM, where we are streaming live as we speak, an embedded stream from our YouTube account. You'll find it there. Go to Nigeria Info FM now. You will see the YouTube live stream. You can see all of us in the studio. To vote on Twitter, another tweet will be pinned to the profile of Nigeria Info FM. You will see their names, Segun and LABAKE. If you click on either name, you have voted. If you want to know the progress, who is voting, you have to vote to get the result on Twitter. On Facebook, we are streaming live on the official Nigeria Info page. That's Nigeria Info 993. Nigeria Info 993. The live stream is there, and when it's time to vote, the voting portal will open on the live stream. You will most likely see the voting portal at the bottom corner of the stream. You will see Segun, you will see LABAKE. Depending on the device you use, it could be to the right of your screen. If it blocks the faces of the contestants, you can click it off temporarily and click that same position back to bring it back on. You have to vote. Drop your comments. We'll take your comments. Your comments do not constitute a vote. So when you drop your comments, we will read as many of those comments as possible, but you've got to go and click on either name to vote. Remember, when you do vote, it is not all about your personal opinion on the subject matter. These two individuals chose their positions on this subject matter in a lottery kind of fashion. So they may be defending a position they personally do not necessarily agree with. We'd implore that you respect that when you vote. Do not make it your opinion. Vote based on their performance. In other words, even if you do not agree with their point of view, if the performance was impressive, feel free to vote for either of them nonetheless. Having said that, if I have the permission of Buchi, Sarafina, Chuma, and Honor, and very importantly, the permissions of Segun and Labake and the home audiences, let us get this contest underway. For the benefit of this particular contest, we asked a question. Which was the better Nigerian national team? Which was the better Nigerian national team? We put up two teams. The USA 94 team and the Atlanta 96 team. We put that into a draw. Out came USA 94 team for Labake and Atlanta 96 team for Segun. We have deliberately made it all about Nigerian football at this stage and the next stage, where we are trying to grow Nigerian football. So these two individuals, Segun and Labake, will look to argue out why they believe that either of these two teams was better than the other. Segun, for the benefit of this contest, is contestant number one. You will start out the contest. I'll give you 1 minute to argue out your point. Indicate if you are ready to go.
Yes, I am.
Very good. At this point, once again, which was the better Nigerian national team? Labake says USA 94 team. Segun says Atlanta 96 team. In the next 1 minute, Segun will explain to us, try to convince us why he's convinced, why he himself is sure that the Atlanta 96 team was better than the USA 94 team. Your 1 minute starts now.
Yeah, many thanks, Femi. In the words of David Beckley, he said there are 3 categories of people in the world. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and people who wonder how things happen. Me and my family, and of course the football at large, we watched how greatness happened. We wondered, what has happened before us. What was termed impossible was made possible by the dream team in Atlanta 96. The USA 94 team, they did good for themselves. They won the Nations Cup. They crashed out at the World Cup in the second round. But the Atlanta 96 team, they brought home the Holy Grail. They brought home the gold medal, which to me is the greatest feat and the greatest football moments in the history of Nigerian football. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You've saved us 12 seconds. We appreciate it. We'll take it. And it's the turn of Labake to convince us that the USA 94 World Cup team was better than the Atlanta 96 Olympic team. Labake, are you good to go?
Yes, I am.
You have 1 minute. It starts now.
Nigeria to the world was what the USA 94 team was. And we're babies. We're supposed to be babies in the competition. But we came out strong. We beat the Bulgarian team 3-0, a team that were balling all the way to when the World Cup started. And when they actually, we did beat them, and yes, but it did come fourth. We showed the kind of strength we had in that team. USA 94 team has been the only team in Africa that has come fifth in the FIFA ranking, the best till date. It hasn't been broken. This is how many years down the line. It shows that the the Atlanta 96 team, they did good, yes, they did, but the USA 94 team was the bedrock, the foundation on which the Atlanta 96 team was built. So I would not, in any way or form, take the Atlanta 96 team over the USA 94 team because it's obvious the team that was the greater. The foundation, the bedrock of that Atlanta 96 team was the USA 94 team. So most definitely USA 94 team for me.
Thank you very much. All right. The alarm finally goes. You finished just in time. Appreciate it. Once again, the contest has begun. We'll go into the head-to-head battle. It comes down to it. One of these two individuals stand a real risk of being eliminated tonight. Who will that person be? Is it the high-flying Segun or the high-flying Labake? We'll know at the end of this contest. If you want to vote, you will wait to vote via the phones at the end of the contest. You can commence voting on social media once the head-to-head begins. You'll see their names appear on the live stream on Facebook, on our page, Nigeria Info 993 on Facebook. You would see Segun, you would see Labake. You only need to click on either name. Base it, please, on the strength of their argument and their performance tonight. Do not base it on your pre-held beliefs on the subject. Okay, thank you very much. On Twitter, just go to @Nigeria Info FM. That's the official Nigeria Info handle, where you'd see the live stream from our YouTube page embedded there. But you'd also see the tweet pinned to the top of our profile. That is where you vote either Segun or Labake. Drop your comments both on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll try to read them. Remember, your comment is not your vote. Saying I vote Segun, I vote Labake, good, we appreciate it. But you have to then perform your duty by going to click on their names on the platforms to register your vote. That said, we go head to head. Segun, Labake, 5 minutes is what you have to argue out your points as to why, according to Segun, the Atlanta 96 team was better, and why, according to Labake, the USA 94 team was better. Your 5 minutes commence right now.
3 of the players from the 1994 squad won the African Footballer of the Year. We had Rashidi Yekini 1993, we had Emmanuel Amunike 1994, we had Victor Ekpeba 1997.
Are you reading out
for
individual?
For me, that tells,
about team
for
here,
me
right?
that tells you the strength of that team.
No doubt.
That team
so
had
we are not
progression, and for me that's the greatest thing any team could possibly have.
So what was the major success? You know, that United States 94 team achieved that trumps the Atlanta 96
well,
success.
for one, six players from the US 94 squad were very important.
Team success, please.
We're very important.
Team success.
Hold on. The 1996 success, it wasn't by magic. It wasn't.
That is the question I'm asking you. The
it
USA 94 team won what as a team?
It was the bedrock of the success.
No, I'm not asking for bedrock. Hold on. You said the USA team is better, right?
The African Cup of Nations.
Great. Now,
the Atlanta 96 team was ranked 49th in the world at the time, even when they won.
Look.
You
said bedrock and the likes. There were 18 for Olympics, right? 18 players are being you have 18 players, right? Only 1/3 of that team was from the USA 94 team. 6, right?
And they were very important.
No, every player is important.
And
right?
they were very
every
important.
Player is important.
Excuse you?
12. No, when you can contribute 1/3, right? It goes a long way. Now we have the likes of Celestine Babayaro, Taribo. In fact, that year was when Taribo became Taribo the West, the best, right? Now, my own is this: as a team, I would not denigrate USA triumph, right? USA 94 team triumph, but as a team collectively, what was the great feat they achieved? The Nations Cup, we had already won the Nations Cup in 1980. We won the Nations Cup in 2013. You are going to... We are not talking about the individual...
Excuse you. They make up the team.
Yes.
They make up the team.
What? No.
So you take them out. What then do you have?
Okay, so no.
What do you have?
The argument is this. The USA 94 team and the Atlanta 96 team.
Which is better?
Now, the success that was achieved by 1996 team has never been achieved by any African side in the history of African football. Do you agree?
So that tells you everything.
Gold medal. See,
that tells you everything.
Let me tell you how important gold medal is. If you have 50 silver medals, you will still come second. Behind one team or a person that has one gold medal.
And
it goes to show how important it was.
Won the Atlanta 96.
Have we not won the Nations Cup before? We won the Nations Cup in 1980. We won the Nations Cup in 2013. Tell me any team in Africa. Tell me one team in Africa that has ever won the gold medal in a football competition in Olympics. Olympics is the biggest pinnacle in sports, not just in football.
The USA 94 team were very, very critical parts.
Fantastic, and I have alluded to it. They contributed to 1/3 of the success.
Exactly, take them out. What then do you have left? It wasn't a slap of the finger. It wasn't a process that started now.
Okay.
It started in USA 1994.
Yes, and I have alluded to it. They contributed to 1/3.
You have what left?
So what you're saying is this.
You have what left in the 1996 squad?
Now, the 1996 squad, the 19 squad, can you tell me any other football side in Africa that has achieved the Olympic gold medal? In Africa?
None.
But I can give you countries that have won the Nations Cup.
How many countries?
I can give you, see, you're talking about FIFA ranking. Who FIFA ranking help? Tell me, who FIFA ranking help?
Is that a question?
Yes.
Is that a question?
FIFA ranking does not entirely validate everything. You and I are even still confused about FIFA ranking today.
I ask you to clean the lens of your glasses.
No, you don't have to do that. See, the point is this: FIFA ranking does not validate everything. It does not paint the whole picture.
No.
The point is this: the excitement of the 94 team was good, but what did they have to show for it that is bigger than the gold medal of the Atlanta 96? Did you even watch Bebeto, the likes of Ronaldo, the likes of Rivaldo? We got to the final.
The success Nigeria had in Atlanta 96 would not have happened if you take away that 1/3.
Why are you taking it away? The point is, so they added to the success, right? So now, when you say one,
take away Victor Ikpeba, what then do you have left in the team?
So we should take away Kanu Wako then, right? We should take away Baba Yaro. We should take away one of our best right backs. Do you know Mobi Oparaku? Mobi Oparaku was arguably the best right back in Africa.
You
take away Baba Yaro, the best left back.
So how
do you take it away? Football is a team sport. Now the point is this: you are saying one led to two, right?
You can't take away individual players.
Let me paint an analogy for you. You are saying one.
Lady and gentlemen, we need to hear you. You seem to be shouting over each other. Your time has expired. I'll give you an additional 2 minutes, just for the purpose of clarity, so that we can hear you better. So we're adding 2 minutes to your time. Would please ask that you use it judiciously and allow yourselves be heard. It starts now.
Okay, I'm happy, Labake, that you painted a very good picture. Now, the numerical advantage makes it very, very better, right? You said the USA 94 team contributed to the 1996 success, right? It means that you said, yes,
youth part
contributed, yes. So the point is this: 1 cannot be greater than 2. It means that 2 is greater than 1. The success of the 96
if you have two mediocrity,
go ahead. Say the 1996 team was mediocre. Go ahead.
Excuse me. Don't put words in my mouth. Don't think for me. Don't think on my behalf.
You painted an analogy that worked against you. 1 cannot be greater than 2, right?
No. 2 mediocre is not
so
as
good.
So
mediocre
2 mediocre. No, you asked the question.
It's your analogy to the latter. Why are you saying?
You asked the question. You said 2 is greater than 1.
Yes, numerically.
2 mediocre.
Yes.
2 mediocre is not as good.
There's no mediocre here. We are talking about the greatest.
I answered your question.
The greatest football event.
You asked the question.
We are talking about, the Olympics is the biggest sports spectacle in the world. The Olympics is the pinnacle of sports, not just football.
The World Cup is.
I'm talking about sports generally. Olympics is the height.
I'm talking about football. Come back
now. Yes, so I'm telling you that
we're talking about a team.
Have there been anything that has done it? No. Have there been anything that has done it after? No.
Exactly.
The question is, we have won Nations Cup before 94. We won Nations Cup after 94.
The brilliance of that team. Excuse you.
See, did you watch 96 Triumph?
I wasn't born then.
Oh, fantastic!
But I didn't watch it at the time.
Shows that
I didn't watch it.
Fantastic.
I didn't watch it at the time.
Go and watch the 3-1 comeback against Brazil.
I did watch it.
You will weep in tears. You will be happy.
It was spectacular.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay,
you had
so tell me the great.
You had leaders in that team.
In that Nigerian team in 1994, they failed at their first order. They failed at the first order. The second round, they failed at the second round. The point is, the Nigerian 1996 team started from the beginning and they ended it. They brought the Holy Grail back to Africa, not just for Nigeria.
The comeback, the 3-1 comeback.
Fantastic.
Yes, the 3-1 comeback.
Yes.
You alluded to the leadership quality of the team.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about, yes,
you take away the vital part of the team. You take away the core.
Nobody should take away any team
What do you have left?
Why are you not seeing?
What do you have left?
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We added 2 minutes, and it's come down to this. You'll have a minute each to close your arguments. We're starting with Segun. Just before that, you may have made up your mind already. We see a good number of you are already voting on Twitter and, of course, on Facebook. Go ahead and vote for either Segun, the guy, and, of course, LABAKE, the lady. Base it on performance, not on your own personal belief, on performance. Okay? We hope that is clear. Who marshaled their points, who drove their arguments, who impressed you more, or who disappointed you. Whatever reason, you're entitled to your reason for voting either Segun or LABAKE. Having said that, go and vote on Facebook, Nigeria Info 993. That's our official Nigeria Info page. You will see our live stream right there. You will see LABAKE, you see Segun. Click on either name. The voting portal is on the image itself, below the screen of the image. On Twitter, you would have to check to ensure that you see the pinned tweet to our profile. That is where you vote. It's in the form of a poll, LABAKE or Segun. Vote either of them. There's also a live stream from our YouTube page, which is embedded on our official Twitter handle at Nigeria Info FM. After their 1 minute each of closing arguments, we will go to the phone lines for the voting. We will also go to the panel. We'll go to Twitter. We'll go to Facebook. Drop your comments. We'll read them. Remember, you do not vote by dropping those comments. You vote by clicking on either name. So, Segun, you have 1 minute to close your argument, and that minute starts now.
Thank you again, Femi. Football is a team sport, and I allude to the greatness of the USA 94 team. They did good for themselves, and for Nigeria at large. They won the Nations Cup that we have won before. Congratulations, we have won the Nations Cup afterwards. They got to the World Cup second round, and they crashed out, right? But here we are talking about the Atlanta 96. They started the journey, they ended the journey, and they brought the Holy Grail home. Have any African team done this? Is this the height of a football spectacle in Nigeria? Yes. Has any other African team done this? No. Will it repeat itself? Maybe unlikely. I would allude to the greatness of the individual players there, but I don't have the time. But going forward, I, as a person, I would rate the team success of the Atlanta 96 because they have won what has never been won before. And it brought global recognition to Nigeria as a whole. The USA 94 team, it was somewhat restricted to Nigeria's success, not Africa.
Thank you. You've closed your argument, right?
Yes.
Good. Appreciate it. LABAKE, you have 1 minute to respond, to close your argument. Your minute starts now.
Greatness for me is beyond the now. The question is the after. So from the USA 94 squad, we had players that years down the line, we reminisce and remember their name and said, wow, what a player. We had Victor Ikpeba, we had JJ Okocha, we had Emmanuel Amunike, Uche Okechukwu. The name goes on and on. From there, from that USA 94 squad, we had Rashidi Yekini, our highest goal scorer of all time, till now. Excuse you, no one in that Atlanta 96 team broke that record. A team, it was our first showing, and we did not disappoint. It was our first time at the World Cup, and we came through. We came to the party. We bowled, we played. Of course, our inexperience showed, yes, but we actually came and showed the world that we actually know what we came here to do. The USA 96, the Atlanta 96 team, the bedrock of it was from the USA 94 squad. So excuse you, what then are we talking about? So we have fantastic players. 37 plus goals, Rashidi Yekini, 3 African best players of the year from that same squad.
All right.
It says it all for me.
All right. Thank you. So we've come to the end of this contest. We'll go to the phone lines. Before that, a quick reminder that you can go ahead now. The debate is over. Make up your mind. If you voted on Twitter, have you voted on Facebook? If you've done so on Facebook, have you done so on Twitter? You have an opportunity of increasing their chances. So go to Facebook, Nigeria Info 993, the page. Feel free to vote on the live stream. You'll see there. It's Buchi and myself on the screen as we speak, if you are watching. And on Twitter, same thing. We're streaming live from YouTube, embedded there. But look out for the tweet we've pinned to the top of our profile. That is where you vote from. We commence voting via the phone lines now. The numbers are these.
Call us on 0127709993, 0127719993, 0127729993, and 0127739993. This is Nigeria Info. We are listening.
And we'd like to hear from you. Let's see who our very first voter on the night will be. Hello, good evening to you.
Hello, good evening.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm fine. My name is Tony.
Your name is Femi?
Tony.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm voting for the guy.
You're voting for the guy?
Yeah.
You want to share any reason why?
No.
Okay, you're just voting. No reason.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right. Thank you very much.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening and welcome.
Yeah, this is Kadri calling.
Welcome, Kadri. It's good to hear from you.
I want to ask you a question before I vote.
Go ahead.
Please, is Nigeria the only African country that have won the Olympics?
Certainly not.
Nah, I think Cameroon won.
Certainly not.
Cameroon won.
Cameroon won the next one, Sydney. Sydney 2000.
Yeah, Cameroon won.
Because I wanted to be sure.
Yeah, Shegun.
But I will vote for Segun.
Okay.
Yes, because he said it and the other girl did not even counter it. That means she did it. So
yeah.
I vote for Segun. They both did very well. I would like to you.
Yeah.
If possible, both can go through, but I vote for Segun. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next vote, please. Hi there. Talk to us.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Name is Daniel.
Welcome, Daniel.
Okay, I'm voting for Segun.
Okay.
I think he did more work on history, and although Labake said something about from 94 to 96 trajectory, but I think Segun rather was able to stand his ground, and for that I'll vote for him.
All right. Thank you very much. So all three votes have gone Shegun's way. 3 of a possible 5. Yeah. So yeah.
Do we take it up?
For the sake of time. Thank you very much. Let's leave it at that, because at this stage we're doing just 5. Did we say we were going to increase the number of votes at this stage of the competition? For the 3-way.
No, you remember the last one? There were 3 contestants. Yeah. So we increased it to 9.
Well, yes. Before that, we went to 7.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll leave it at that. It's sufficient. Segun takes a vote via the phone lines. Apologies for those. The lines are all ringing. But I think the majority have already spoken at this point. So the phone calls will go Shegun's way. You can continue to vote on Twitter. You have 2 more minutes. 2 minutes on Twitter. 2 more minutes left. We have over 100 votes already. 2 more minutes. If you haven't voted, please go to Twitter and vote now. Nigeria Info FM. You'll see Labake and Segun. Vote either one of them while there's still time. Also on Facebook, Labake or Segun. Who would you vote? Make your opinion count. Drop those messages. We will read them in just a bit. Prioritize Twitter, because we're not closing the vote on Facebook until the last minute. Yep. But you have just about a minute left on Twitter. Before we go back to social media, let's come to the panel. Normally, I would have asked the panelists to let me know how they voted. I have not asked them, so we would start raw. Would start raw. I didn't pass the papers around. So, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, Chuma.
Have this done with. Well, first off, very, very intelligent conversation coming through from the 2 contestants, and I'm not surprised because there are people who found a way to prove their worth throughout the course of this contest so far this year. So I expected nothing less than what they have given us, and well done to them. It's a very, very difficult topic to have to dissect because somehow there's a bit of a mixture. The topics intertwined as to the two teams somehow, which is something LABAKE was trying to emphasize upon as much as she could. Somehow the fact that you cannot fully take away the success of the 96 set from some ingredients that they got from the 94 set. But before I start commending them for the points that got me, I'll just pick out two negatives. One has been identified already by the caller. The fact that SEGUN hammered several times on the reality of no other African team doing what Nigeria did in Atlanta in 96. If he were to be an analyst on TV or radio and someone who's listening,
would have
lost have an idea. The person
would have lost all credibility.
Yeah, because if it happens once, okay, well, we all make mistakes, don't we? But when you hammer on it during the 5 minutes conversation plus the 2 minutes that were added, and you hammer on it again in your closing remarks, you know,
it's no longer a slip of the tongue.
It dents the quality you've already showcased during the course of the process. So that's that. And then LABAKE should have, you know, for somebody who's coming into a contest, he should be, I know it's not that easy, but hey, you should be able to investigate those kind of things so you can use it as a point to counter against your rival, as the title of the show is counter, and she didn't take advantage of that, which was a problem. I also thought she would have brought up this angle too, which is Olympics football is a global event, which is what SEGUN had consistently spoken about. And of course, a global event is bigger than a continental event. But LABAKE should have reminded him that the continental event is for the senior national team, and Olympics football is under 23. Yes, you have some players who there's an opening for you to invite a few overage players to be part of your team, but it's majorly for under 23 football. So she should have reminded him that it's a massive success, yes, but it's not too far to some level from Nigeria winning the under-17 World Cup 5 times. But how has Nigeria been able to transcend from that level to the senior level to win the World Cup? So she should have reminded him that it's a global contest like the under-17 World Cup, but it's not on the same pedestal, you know, with the senior national team, which is what FIFA uses to rank teams. We should not forget that in a hurry. I know that, you know, Ronaldo did well. Ronaldo de Lima did well in the Olympics and won the World Player of the Year for 96. But you have to add what he did to at club level. I think he was playing for Inter Milan then, if I remember right. You know, so yeah, that's a point she should have brought into the picture. She did not bring to. So those were two major points she should have used to just kill SEGUN one hand, if I'm to put it as we say it in local parlance. And unfortunately, she didn't do that. SEGUN was more vocal. He's a man, of course, so his voice is louder. I would not judge him based on that and give him the edge, because for me it's not about how loud you are, it's about how much sense you make. He made sense, but like I said, I'm not giving him a plus because his voice was louder than LABAKE's. LABAKE was composed and shared her thoughts too, and I'll just quickly pick out a few things that they said that interested me. LABAKE's point of being the 5th best team in the world, which is something I know SEGUN countered by saying who FIFA ranking ep. But you can still use it as a bragging right somehow and say, hey, we're still the only African team that have been 5th best in the world, the highest ranked African team. So it counts for something. And every time we eulogize the 94 set, we remind the listener, even if you were not born then, we're so good though. And she should have also told him, we're so good though, that FIFA said we're the second most entertaining team in that World Cup after Brazil. She didn't mention that too. You know, so the few things she should have used to just close the conversation with SEGUN. Unfortunately that she didn't. But I was impressed with the fact that she, even though we're talking about just one team, but sometimes when you talk about how good a team is or how good a team was, you also want to appreciate the quality of that team by being able to pick out players who grew from that team to become superstars. And the fact that she took her time to enumerate, you know, those names, Ikpeba, Emmanuel Lamonike, and Rashidi Akini, all players who came out of that team and got the the CAF Africa Player of the Year award, is something that should have counted for something too. But again, great job by SEGUN finding a way to counter it by saying, if you keep talking about the 6 players who were the integral part of that success in 96, what happens to Celestin Babayaro, who moved on to Chelsea after that one? What happened to Anwankwo Kanu, who himself went on to win the Africa Player of the Year award twice? Until date, is the last Nigerian to get that award, which is what he got in 1999. So very intelligent and interesting conversation from the two parties. But I think there are a few things they should have added to the arguments that I don't know, perhaps the occasion just overwhelmed them and they forgot to bring that into the conversation. Enough of my talking. Time for me to show walking now, which is speaker winner. It's very difficult to have to do this, to be honest. It's very, very difficult. I think intro-wise, I was more impressed with Labake's intro. I was. She, took her time to talk about a few things. Was more in detail, talking about Bulgaria finishing 4th best in the World Cup, and we beat that team, Bulgaria team. I thought that made sense as to how good our team was. And I think that I'll just use one thing to settle this contest. It's a shame I'm having to use that to settle the contest. It's a big shame I'll have to use that. But the fact that he repeated it time and time again is a blunder that, for a radio listener, somebody who knows, you keep saying on radio, which kind of presenter the guy comes studio, so where does it give us wrong start anyhow? And the person who now question the other stats he shared, even if those stats were true. So tough really. But I think I'll give Labake 51% and 49% to Segun, for the singular reason that those mistakes repeated, or that mistake repeated itself more than once.
Thank you very much. Who wants to go next? People, we don't have all day. We have a second contest. Honor is dragging. Actually dragging a chair in a live studio. That's a new one. Oh yeah, don't worry.
Oh well, apologies for that. My business with my chair there, Femi. It surely won't happen again. It has. First of all, I want to say congratulations to Segun and Labake for coming up with the goods.
Could you adjust your mic neck just a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so as I was saying, I want to start by congratulating Segun and Labake for putting up a wonderful show tonight. The openings were great. Segun started by quoting the philosopher Berkeley, and then said that the Olympic gold medal was something of a pinnacle nature and all of that, and pointing out that the 1994 team crashed out of the World Cup. Labake started by pointing out the 3-0 victory over Bulgaria, the 5th highest ever ranking Nigeria has ever gotten in terms of football. Then that the 1994 team were a foundation upon which the 1996 team was built on. And then during the head-to-head, I would say that I think my own personal judgment is that maybe because of the topic that Labake got during the lottery, she may have taken it for granted a little bit, because she didn't bring her usual gusto to the show tonight in terms of being able to put out her points the way I know her to be able to do so. Segun was able to make some very fantastic points. He said that the Olympic medal, the gold medal that was won, has not been repeated, and my own understanding was about that was within the context of the country Nigeria. No other Nigerian team has been able to replicate that, unlike the Nations Cup.
He did say no African team.
He said African team.
South Africa.
All right.
Twice.
Yeah.
Okay. So that counts. Now that this has also been emphasized again, I possibly judged it wrongly. And then he made also a fantastic point by saying that, look, the 1994 Nations Cup has been replicated by the Christian Chukwu Eagles in 1980, and then also the Joseph Yobo-led Super Eagles in 2013. So it counts for nothing. Much of Labake's argument was on the basis of the 94 team being the foundation for the 96 team. But Segun did really counter that point brilliantly by pointing at certain players, Mobi, Babayaro, Kanu Wankwo, and the rest of the players, saying that only a third or just 6 players from the 94 team. That if you really look at the facts of the matter, you see that the 1996 team wasn't really built upon the 1994 team, as Labake was trying to suggest. I think Labake didn't do enough. In her opening, she didn't build any argument on the rankings by FIFA. That's the 5th ranking. She didn't make enough emphasis on the importance of rankings, which I thought if she did, she would have, gotten quite a lot of points. And as Chuma pointed out, she failed to point out to us and to Segun that, look, yeah, gold medal, Olympics and all, but that's not a grade A football competition. It's still, what then is the difference between an Olympic medal and the other age grade competitions that FIFA organizes? So she failed to make that point. That was actually Chuma making that point, on her behalf. So the closings, also during the closing, Segun said team sports, it's about the team, not necessarily the players. Repeated again that the Nations Cup feat had been repeated. And Labake said greatness is not about now but after, and all of that. But she didn't remember that the argument was about the team. It's not really about projecting, because if you talk about projections, there was a foundation perhaps in 1990, 91 or 92 that gave rise to the 1994 team, and all of those things. So give and take, all in all, I think Segun had the more solid arguments, and he's getting my vote for tonight.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Sarafina and Buchi, who wants to go first?
Ladies first, sorry. Buchi, go. Ladies first. Why you wear fine clothes? Let me confess.
Okay, Buchi, let the lady have her way.
Exactly.
By that I mean the lady should decide whether she wants to go first or second.
Buchi should go first.
Okay, so the lady has her way. Buchi, let's go.
Let the lady have her way, but you now thought that it meant let the lady speak first, and you just put yourself in the trap, man.
I know Wala. I think Femi, should I be very blunt?
Be very blunt.
Very blunt. I think this argument I was kind of disappointed in so many facts, especially in Labake. I think in this argument it was a good example of small doctor, like Segun plays penalty time throwing. Did not once, not twice, not like close to like 5 times. And I was looking at Labake, what are you doing? Like, it was like you research just your team, you didn't research his team to like get different points from it. And I was kind of shocked that you didn't talk about Bonfrey, about Clement Wenstoff, one of the men that changed the face of football in Nigeria. You didn't talk about Bonfrey Joe also. You mentioned these managers that won this, that did huge things for Nigeria right there. It was crazy, and the argument was kind of good point. Respect to do teams, 2 great teams, and I think Chuma made the point I wanted to make about age grade and national team. Labake focused more on players, more on what players can do, but not more of what they have done, or more about the shape of the team, which is kind of really not making sense. But I was kind of angry when Segun kept on lamenting on the stuff. I was like, I was looking at that. I was like, say, should I enter your head and tell you this thing? It was like, it was crazy. And someone even was like, mention me on Twitter. Like, the guy kept on saying, I was like, guy, leave them, made the argument. It was really good. I like Segun came out. He came out very prepared. He did the grace. Before he came out, I saw him right there. It was obvious that Segun prepared more. It was obvious to me that I think Labake didn't really prepare the way she normally used to prepare. She just made 1 or 2 points. But remember also, you didn't learn because you faced Segun before. Segun was the person that beat you before. Coming in, you know that, this guy is good at what he does. And also, he's very, very outspoken. And you didn't really do that, which is kind of not really making sense. But the good thing about the argument I like for you was you focused on what you think worked for you. Talking about the bedrock. You used bedrock like 4 times or 5 times, the bedrock of the team. And you made good points to that, and you stick to that, which is not bad. They say sometimes if you don't get rice, if you don't get stew, use of apple, and that is what you use. You use what you use to get your point. For Segun, I think you had a good argument. I like the way you are very, very agile and very bold. But you kept on labalistic that stuff, and it was really getting me kind of very, very uncomfortable. They say when you make 1 mistake now accident, you make 2 times now coincidence, make 3 times now anything will be dent. But it was really bad for me. And also I was waiting for the final 1 minute, which was kind of the same thing, like arguing in the argument, but it was kind of crazy. But I think this argument was not really that dope for me, like I expected from 2 of them. The last time both of them came here, it was one of the best debates we've had so far. The last time, they kept on giving us bass. But job like I say, when I don't sleep well for night. Right there, it was crazy for me. I didn't really like it because I expected more from both of you, because both of you have actually one of the 2 best candidates we have on the show. But Femi, going to who I will vote for, kind of very, 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 very difficult try. Yeah. Hi. Excuse. I wrote two. Shall I write and give you? Oh, I know write and give you.
Don't forget what you write.
It is actually very, very difficult because respect to both of them. I think they are fantastic at what they do, and they will grow up being good journalists and OAPs. Laba, Femi, what are they vote for?
Waiting on you.
Time don't go. It's actually very, very difficult. Honestly, it is. I think in this job we do, it's good to make mistake, but it's bad to make too much mistakes. Because when you sit on air right now, like the first thing you taught me, Femi, you become an authority. Like when you talk, people listen. Right there. So on that authoritatively level, according to what you taught me, so that they use your vote to vote. Being an authority, you don't make mistakes more than 4 times. So Femi, for that, I will go with Labake. Though she was kind of disappointing for me, honestly, I think she would have done far, far better. But that authority figure, I think she just gets it just tiny for me.
All right, thank you very much. Sarafina, your turn.
Femi, thank you. First of all, Labake, I must admit, you've been one person that has always been on fire all through this contest. Whenever you come on the mic, I expect to see a lot from you because you've never disappointed. But today you were a little bit too relaxed. I don't know, probably you felt you've got your own side and there's no need for you to research more on Segun. Coming to you, Segun, you were more vocal. You came prepared. You had the fire and the rest of it, aside the mistakes that you kept on making over and over again, like Buchi pointed out. But the thing is, if you go by the argument, the one thing I can actually pick from what Labake kept saying was the bedrock and just bedrock. For me, that was just the punchline she had. Even when it was obvious, she had other punchline to actually use against Segun. So for the fact that she could not use a point very, very well, she could not counter Segun, because if Segun kept making on that mistake, it's not left for Labake to counter him. It would have been very, very easy for us tonight to make the decision we're making. So I think Labake actually made the decision a little bit harder for us to make, simply because she could not counter Segun. So for that, I'm giving my vote to Segun.
Thank you very much. So for the panel, Labake takes Chuma and Buchi's vote. Segun takes Ona and Sarafina's vote. We have a tie. I'm going to have to break the truce, and this is how I would break it. First and foremost, one of the first things I noticed about this contest was that Segun went on the offensive. Perhaps the opportunity of going first helped him, but Labake was on defense throughout, and I was waiting for Labake to turn defense into attack. I waited forever. It never came. Not even in the closing argument. In Labake's closing argument, she was still arguing with Segun, which is why she kept saying "excuse you" once or twice. It wasn't a closing argument. She was just going back at Segun. She was on the defensive throughout. We noted a major error that Segun put out. Major. It is unpardonable. In this stage, it is unpardonable. However, the fact that Labake missed it, that too is unpardonable. There is something else, true, that I found troubling. Segun kept making a strong case as to the importance of the Olympics. Well, Labake tried to respond by saying, we are not talking about sports, we are talking about football. But Segun shot himself in the foot one too many times. And each time, Labake left him off the hook. There is no way you are going to compare Olympic football with the World Cup. There is no basis for comparison. That's one. So that was another information. For LABAKE, it's already been pointed out that the Olympics is actually an age grade competition. Only 3 players are allowed from the general age grade. At that World Cup, the 3 senior players who were above the cut of 23 that Nigeria took to that tournament were gentle giant Uche Okechukwu in defense. In midfield, Dan the Bull Amokachi. And up front, Emmanuel Amunike. I remember that Bonfrey Joe had tried to take Finidi George. Finidi George had declined. So you were right. There were 6 players from the 94 team. Those 3, the other 3 were JJ Okocha, Sunday Olise, and of course Victor Ikpeba, who did not come on the pitch for 1 second throughout USA 94. 1 second he didn't play, even though he was part of the team. That was his first assignment for Nigeria. That was his biggest stage for Nigeria on the pitch. I really feel LABAKE missed out an opportunity here, driving home her point. This was the very first time ever. Segun kept asking what achievement, what was special. It was special. Nigeria had never been at the World Cup finals. Nigeria had played, tried. Nothing had worked. For the first time, Nigeria went to the World Cup, opening up a succession of qualification to the World Cup, which was not snapped until the 2006 World Cup in Germany. 3 successive World Cup, USA, France, and of course Korea, Japan in 2002. I love LABAKE. She is fantastic. She deserves to win this contest. She deserves to win this competition. She deserves to progress on the strength of her performance tonight. She hasn't given me enough to earn my vote. For Segun, well, who put it succinctly? I think it was Chuma. I had to reduce the level of your mic at some point. Now, we have different personalities. Some of us are alpha guys. Some of us are lions. Some of us are monkeys. Some are dolphins. Others are elephants. But you see, there is a thin line between striving to make your point and sounding condescending. You know. Now, it becomes even more evident when on the other side there is a lady there. We need to learn all of this. There's one of us in this studio who finds it hard to go into a contest between himself and a lady. He doesn't like to do counter with a lady because he is by nature very forceful.
He knows himself.
And then when he goes up against a lady, it becomes aggressive. It almost sounds like he's about to cross over and slap her. And it doesn't, the optics of it is not so great. But you succeeded in putting LABAKE on the defensive throughout. And for that, you have my vote. Let me state categorically that any age grade competition to me does not hold much water. I have my personal reservations against Nigerian age grade competitions. I am not going to say too much, but you cannot convince me or impress me with any football competition or any sporting competition that is under one thing or another. There is no justification for comparing it. Yes, we compared the two teams. the fact that the teams were intertwined in some measure. But it was Labake's duty to floor Segun, and she failed miserably in that effect. To that end, Segun, you have my vote. What do you have on social media?
Let's start with Facebook, Femi. Let me refresh for the last time on Facebook. We're talking about Nigeria Info 99.3. You can also, the video is live, so you can watch us live right here. Can I take some comments?
Yes,
like 5 or 6 comments while I leave. Shehu Ismaila says, the Atlanta 96 team was an upgrade of the 94 team. You just put no votes. Wale says...
I disagree.
That's what he says.
Yeah, but I disagree with him.
Wale Davis says, Labake makes total sense. Stanley Ede says, Segun point is glaring. Labake did not research on this topic, which is kind of true. John Joseph said, I vote for Segun. Shehu says, technically, the Atlanta 96 team is better. They play with passion and determination by shocking the world. Godwin said Segun for me. Sam said Segun all the way. David says Segun. Uche says Segun. Godwin says Segun. Emeka says Segun. Everybody right there saying Segun. And Femi, looking at the votes, it's kind of obvious. So Segun takes Facebook with 62% of the votes to Labake with 38% of the votes. So Segun takes Facebook. Find over to Twitter where we have close to like 40 comments and 165 votes on Twitter. Taking some comments right here. Oluwa Sheunfumi Laba. One people really caution one time. So Segun, you are correct. The Laborer Soul says, I thought the 94 squad was better, but Segun changed all that. Fabian Mars says, Sheiks Baba to the world, he killed, buried, and cemented it. He takes my vote. Augusto says, Labake has my vote. So Solid says, Segun, you're a core analyst and superior veteran on this. Wanda says, Segun dusted Labake today. Stanley says, I love Segun and the fact he dropped. Labake did good, but she was more confrontational. Femi made that point also. Alexander said, Segun on point. Femi, if you take more votes, I think looking at the votes, Segun also takes Twitter with 64% of the vote on Twitter to Labake 36% of the vote. So Segun takes Twitter and Facebook.
All right. So Segun takes social media. Segun takes the phone lines. And though we did have a split through the panel, Mr. Moderator voted in favor of Segun, which means Segun is victorious on the night. If you pass these to Segun to just take one, and then we can make progress. That will essentially determine your contest position.
Number 2.
You are number 2. So Segun, you qualify automatically, and you will be the second contestant tomorrow night in the 3-way. Congratulations. For Labake, we await the second battle. You are still in with a shot. Much will depend on what happens in that next one. You put up a good fight. That's certainly. I'm sure you also learned. You learned that you probably feel that preparation was not up to the usual this time around, whatever reasons there were. We'll take a break. Once we return from this break, the second contest will be between Adeola and Chinwe. The loser of that contest will be put up for eviction alongside Labake, and will have to make a determination to save or to spare one of those two. We'll be back after this break.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
And final battle for the night. Just before we make the decision as to who to spare and who to bid bye-bye to. This second contest features two of the most amazing women we've seen in the entire contest, who've ridden their wave and have come this far into the final four, where it came down to 3 ladies and a gentleman. Contestant number 1, for the purpose of tonight's contest, is a young lady in her early 20s. She's Adeola Martha Adebiyi. She's a student of the University of Lagos who supports Barcelona and, of course, locally MFM. She stays on campus in Akoka. On Twitter, she is at Hardest Queen, HARDEHSQUEEN. Adeola, thank you for joining us again tonight.
Yeah, good evening. It's good to be back.
Did you listen to the earlier contest?
Oh, yes, I did.
Certainly. Are you ready to go?
Learn from me, though.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Our opponent, a young lady in her 20s who is a copywriter and advertising practitioner supporting Manchester United. She is known by her friends as Wendy. Her full name is Chinwendu Onuoha. For the purpose of this contest, we refer to her simply as Chinwe. She stays somewhere in Ajao Estate of Lagos. On Twitter, she is at Chinwe OJ, same as Instagram at Chinwe OJ. Welcome, Chinwe.
Thank you, Femi.
Are you good to go?
Yeah, I'm good.
You followed the other debate?
No, I didn't. But
You didn't?
I did on social media.
On social media?
Yeah.
So let me ask you, who impressed you more in the other debates, Adiola, you followed?
Okay, truthfully, I think they both did well. However, the hero that the SEGUN hero and LABAKE failing to capitalize on it. But I think they both did well. This level of the battle, it's tough to say, but I think they would.
If we needed you to vote, who would you have voted? Who would have edged it?
If I had
marginally?
to vote. Well, thank God I didn't have to vote. So.
How about you, Chinwe?
Okay, I didn't listen, so I can't really say anything.
All right.
You know when somebody knows that people are about to pass judgment on her own and she's being very careful.
Do not judge others so that you will not be judged.
So she's being very
Okay.
Karma.
Okay, I hope you will listen to your own debate.
Definitely.
Okay. So let's get on the contest. For these second contest, and permit me, there was something I was going to say that I didn't drop earlier on. That LABAKE should have done when SEGUN kept saying there wasn't anything there, there was a whole lot there. The Bulgaria that the Nigeria team beat in their very first ever World Cup. Nigeria was ranked 5th at the time. Correct me if I'm wrong. Bulgaria was ranked higher than Nigeria to that World Cup. I may be wrong, but I think they were ranked 4th or something like that, or somewhere along those lines. But the fact that an African team dared come to the World Cup for the very first time, when even a goal scored by an African team was celebrated as if it was winning the trophy. Prior to that, until Italia 90, when Cameroon impressed until they came up against England. Well, to go into that contest, to meet a team that had one of the best players in the world at that time, in the form of Stoichkov. What's his name?
He's something like
this is Stoichkov. And for Nigeria to have beaten Bulgaria 3-0 was a massive feat. If you remember too, Nigeria went on against Diego Maradona-inspired Argentina, and Argentina narrowly edged it 2-1 before Nigeria took out Greece 2-0. And then against Italy, Nigeria lost it due to inexperience. They were the more impressive side. And it was no wonder that they were the second best entertaining team, even if they could only play 4 of a possible 7 matches. So I think Labake had more work to do and she didn't do it. So that is why she lost my vote tonight. So let's leave that and come to Adeola versus Chinwe. Which has been the more successful Nigerian national team? We took 2 teams, the Super Eagles and the Super Falcons. Now, again, these questions are tricky, just the same as the questions in the first debate was tricky. It is tricky. However, it depends on who marshals out the points more succinctly. It just so happens that this contest is not a war of the sexes because there are 2 ladies here. Adeola picked in the draw Super Eagles. Chinwe picked Super Falcons. They will both have to defend their positions. Some would say one person has an easier job than the other. But we look at it again and you are like, really? We'll find out soon enough. Please remember, we will be counting on your votes. You voted massively for Segun in the other contest. Who will you vote massively for this time? Will it be closer between Adeola and Chinwe? If you are going to vote on Facebook, remember we have our live stream up and running on Facebook. It will start running again in just a bit. You will see Adeola is running now.
Yep,
you will see Adeola and you will see Chinwe. Vote either of them to make up your mind. On Twitter, there's a live stream from our YouTube page. You will see it there. Labake, what am I saying? Adeola and Chinwe. Vote either of them. But to vote on Twitter, look for the tweet we have pinned to our profile, not on the live stream. That is where you vote. Drop your comments on Facebook and Twitter, but your comments do not constitute a vote. You must click on the voting portal. Click on either name to actually do vote. Once again, on Facebook, Nigeria Info 993. On Twitter, at Nigeria Info FM. So let's go. Don't forget to vote via the phone lines. The best of 5 votes, maximum. Adeola versus Chinwe. Which has been the more successful Nigerian national team? Is it the Super Eagles, which is Adeola's argument, or the Super Falcons, which is Chinwe's argument? Adeola, for the purpose of this contest, you are contestant 1 on the night, meaning you go first. Yes. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
So, for 1 minute, tell us why you believe that the Super Eagles has been the more successful Nigerian national team in comparison to the Super Falcons. Your minute starts now.
Yeah, thank you. Success is very relative. What you call success might not be my definition of success. Kudos to the Super Falcons being dominant in the continent, much more than the Super Eagles. But putting in consideration the stiff opposition, the level of competition, and the plethora of talent obtainable in the male category, we could say where the trophy starts padded up for the Super Falcons. No offense to them. Now going to the world stage, where we see how do the Super Eagles of Nigeria, how do they ruffle shoulders with the big guns in world football, as opposed to how the Super Falcons fare against the elites of the female team. We would see that the disparity is quite obvious. So now the hallmark of success should be defined by these margins and not just by the trophy. So I am of the opinion that the Super Eagles of Nigeria have been more successful than the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You finished with about 5 seconds to spare. I will take it. It's up to you now, Chinwe, to propound your own argument and tell us why you are convinced that the Super Falcons have been the more successful team than the Super Eagles. You have 1 minute, and it starts now.
Thank you, Femi. Yes, Diola is right. Success means different things to different people. Now, when you talk about success in football, you're talking about trophies. You're talking about awards. You're You're talking about ranking. You're talking about consistency. You talk about the profits. So if you look at all these things, you will agree with me that yes, people say that what a man can do, a woman can do better. So the Super Falcons are a good example of that. They have been they've not just been dominant in Africa, they've been also been dominant. They're the Africa's most successful international women football team. They're not just they're not just successful in Nigeria, not just a successful national team, but Africa successful Africa's team. You cannot throw away what they've achieved in 28 years. In the over 40 years that the Super Eagles have been existing, they've never come close to it. With this point, you can agree with me. They are more successful.
Thank you very much. You have 5 minutes to go head to head and argue this out. We'll implore you to allow yourselves be heard. Once again, vote on Facebook, Nigeria Info 993 on our live stream. You'll see their names at the bottom corner or to the right top corner, depending on it. Adeola started first. Chinwe just finished our arguments. They have different voice qualities, so I expect that you will be able to pick them out in the head-to-head contest. You can also vote on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. We've embedded our YouTube live stream on Twitter, but we have a separate tweet where you vote. It is pinned at the top of the profile as we speak, and you can vote there. Thanks to Ife and of course Tunde, the guys who are driving our live stream, and our entire digital team. 5 minutes, ladies. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Your time starts now.
Chinwe, you said something, and I think quickly want you to riddle me quick. You said that they are the most successful African team. Yeah. Now tell me, how many teams have won this trophy? How have we performed?
3 teams.
No, thank you. It's 2. Ecuadorial Guinea and Nigeria.
Okay.
13 titles, 13 editions.
Okay.
11 to Nigeria.
Okay.
2 to Ecuadorial Guinea. That tells you that the competition here isn't healthy.
What do you mean by it's not healthy?
AFCON 16,
What do you mean by it's not healthy?
Obvious competition.
No, let me tell you something. The fact that a team is good, you can't throw it away when other people are not coming to the table. When other people don't come to the table, you can't just throw away that they are good. It's not just. Are you saying it's not a competition? They have teams. Are they the only teams playing? Are they the only teams playing?
When they get to the chance to go to the world stage, are they fair?
Okay, now let me tell you. Let me answer you. Let me answer you that question. Now, you see, when they get to the world stage, do you know that in all the years that they've been going to the World Cup, at least they've gotten to the quarterfinals? Tell me, the Super Eagles, what have they gotten to?
Tell me that again.
Tell me,
what are which
quarterfinals? Yes, they have. Quarterfinals.
Pinpoint one for me.
1999. 1999. They got to the quarterfinals. The
Who
Super Eagles. Please. What
how did we now lose?
Please, the Super.
How did we now lose?
They go to the quarterfinals.
Let me tell you, when the Nigerian Super Eagles crashes out of team,
Super Eagles,
that they are not.
How far have they gone? See, all the years they've been going to World Cup. How far has the Super Eagles gone?
Let me help you with that. We just saw an argument that just went by now. We don't lose shambolically.
It's not losing shambolically.
It's success.
Talk about success.
It's success. Let me tell you. It's success. If you can ruffle shoes,
it's not about losing shambolically.
If you can ruffle shoes,
you lose.
Okay.
If you win, I don't win. When you talk about tournament, when you don't win trophies, what is success?
Have you ever seen a Super Eagles team lose 8-0?
Fine, they've not lost 8-0.
We play against Brazil, we give our best.
Fine.
We play against Italy, we give our best.
Yes.
Argentina.
What have they brought to the table?
That is when the fans go to watch football,
when they watch a tournament, what are they watching for? Are they watching to say we tried? Are they watching to say we tried?
Did we win it?
At least dominate Africa.
Did you win it?
Would like to hear you. Would like to hear you.
Have they dominated Africa?
We did not.
Ladies, would like to hear you.
Charity begins at home.
We did not win
Charity begins at home.
Win it.
Egypt has dominated 7 times. What has Nigeria done? What has Super Eagles done? Egypt has dominated 7 times. And we've been playing this tournament for over 39 years.
The most consistent.
39 years.
Let me help you with
only 3 times.
No, let me help you with something.
Only
in 1996 and 1998, we did not go for that
before you were
tournament.
born.
In 1996 and 1998, we did not go for
that. Let me put it
let me help you with something.
for you.
The most consistent team
before you were born.
No doubt. That's the level of competition that is obtainable there. So let me tell you, Chinwe, we have played 14 semi-finals, more than any team. 14 semi-finals. We have played 14 semi-finals. We won it 3 times. 4 finals, 7 bronze. The competition is different. The competition is different.
Is that success?
Who are those that the Falcons face? Who are those that the Falcons face?
Is this competition? That is why they've been very successful.
Equatorial Guinea.
That is
when
why
they won in
they've been very
2012. When they won in 2012. One of the most instrumental players in that tournament, Gloria.
Now
she was a Nigerian.
Now you just said that
that's to tell you that the competition is only Nigeria. You hear names like Eto, you hear names like DJ Jogba, you hear names like Toure. All these guns were playing against them. In the tournament, who are those you are mentioning? Who are those you are going to get? The level of competition, how we show, what we give,
see,
what
it's not by shouting. You need to understand something.
Very different.
I try. You try. It's not success.
Thank you.
I try.
You tried.
It's never success.
It's not success.
You need to understand.
Have we not won anything? The world stage, have we won everything?
You've tried.
I'm telling you, we lost 8-0 symbolically. Super Eagles. You have not lost that. 8-0.
Have they not lost? When they pay you, they pay you.
And you will see how well we play. You will see how well we play in that game.
In a tournament. Let me ask you a question. In a tournament, do they pay you based on the number of goals you conceive?
Let me
do they pay you based on the number of goals you conceive?
Let me help you with that. They don't pay me according to the number of goals I
conceive. Thank you.
But let me tell you,
that is not a point.
Success is about how well you drive in competitions.
Ladies, if you think I'm going to give you extra time, no way. It's not going to happen. Thank you very much.
It's like what you your children will watch it.
All right, thank you very much for the debate. Appreciate it. You'll be given a minute each to close your argument. It was pretty robust. And I do hope, I'd be interested I do hope that the audience could pick out the points. Did the points stand out for all the judges? Were we able to pick their points apart?
Femi, it was interesting.
It was interesting for you.
Yeah,
Anna, what do you think?
I love it. I don't like chops.
I'm afraid I'd have to differ a little bit. There was a lot was lost between the back and forth, but this is what
so many uncompleted points.
Uncompleted points.
Like maybe it's a ploy deliberately to make sure your opponent does not make their points.
Certainly, I think it's what you get when two titans come to the battlefield. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you once again for the debate. You may have voted. Now, if you haven't voted, please go. Could you check how many more minutes of vote do we have on Twitter?
On Twitter, to confirm the number of minutes we have on Twitter. Give me 1 minute. We have close to like 40 minutes left on Twitter.
Left. So
40 minutes left.
Continue to vote. Prioritize Twitter and then go to Facebook. And vote for these two individuals, Adeola and, of course, Chinwe. On Facebook, the page is Nigeria Info 993. Okay? Just look for or just do at Nigeria Info FM. You'll get it there, which is what we use on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. Make sure you go and vote in the portal. Drop your comments. We'll read some of your comments. We'll read your comments, but your comments are not the votes. Remember, when you vote, do not vote based on your personal opinion. Vote based on the performance. Who impressed you the most? If neither of these two candidates has stood out yet, they will have 1 minute each to try and stand out for you in their closing arguments, which will be commenced by Adeola, who is contestant number 1. Okay? After which we'll go to the phone votes. Adeola, your final minute to close your arguments. It starts now.
Now, with all due respect to the Super Falcons of Nigeria, winning 11 out of 13 of the titles that they have contested for, fantastic to them. But we look at the male the male senior team, which is the Super Eagles. We are the most consistent team in the African nations history. 14 semi-finals, 4 finals,
3 wins. That is consistency. And we won the bronze 7 times with the level of competition, the opposition, and the plethora of talent spread across that tournament. Now that is no fluke. We also look at the business side of it. When the Super Eagles of Nigeria, when they play, you know what the corporate enterprise, what they stand to gain. Now when this tournament now begin, we see how the country is in standstill when Super Eagles of Nigeria is playing. If that is not success, I wonder what is. Thank you.
All right, you spared us 12 seconds. We will take it and say thank you to you too. Chinwe, you have 1 minute to close your arguments. It starts now.
Thank you. When we watch football, especially tournaments, what we want is trophies. You cannot throw that away. When CAF or FIFA pays, they pay based on who won trophies. They will not give you money based on I try. Do you understand? When you get to the final and you win your tournament, you get more than when you go to the semi-finals or when you drop at semi-finals. No, African Women Cup of Nations, we've appeared, like you said, 13 times. We won 11. The Super Eagles have appeared 18 times. They won 3. 3 over 18. In my dictionary, it is failed points. Awards, when you not talk about awards, you've had 8 out of 13 times Football of the Year for the women. For the guys, only 5 times, and they've been playing for a very long time, and you still call that success? No. To really talk about profitability, because we've been winning. Yes, we've not spent a lot of money, but the ones we've spent, we've been getting something out of it. That is profitability, and for these 2 reasons, I can say they are more successful. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Wow. It's decision time. Wow. And of course, you can go online to vote on Facebook and Twitter. Nigeria Info 993. That's our page on Facebook. Look out for the live stream. You'll vote on the live stream on Facebook. Is it Adiola? Is it Chinwe? On Twitter, look out for the tweet we've pinned to the top of our profile. That's where you vote. Click on either name. Drop your comments. We'll read your comments. We'll come back to you. For now, however, we'll go to the phone lines and see how our audiences at home will vote. We are taking a maximum of 5 calls. Whoever gets 3 wins it. Hello, good evening to you.
Good evening. My name is Steven from Abu.
Did you say Steven?
Steven.
Okay, Steven. Good. How do you vote?
I want to vote for the lady that speaks Super Eagles. She has more valid points.
Okay.
And she's more composed.
Okay, so Adiola, thank you very much. Adiola takes your vote. Next vote, please. Hi there, good evening to you. Yes, please.
Hello, good evening.
Welcome.
Is that FEMI and the gang?
Yes, it is.
Femi, kudos to you guys. I've been enjoying this program all the while.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for this brilliant idea.
I
think we've had a very fairly competitive debate this evening. I'm a fan of facts. So, I mean, whether it's the guys or the ladies, at the end of the day, what counts is the number of trophies and the laurel. So I want to agree with Chinwe. Chinwe will have my vote based on that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hi there. Good evening. Welcome.
Yes, good evening.
Okay. So how do you vote?
For starting from, sorry to go back to the former book, I was telling you guys on it.
We can't hear you.
If I voted for the former one, I would have voted for SEGUN also.
Okay.
Please go closer to your mouthpiece.
I said I think Chinwe I vote.
Ooh, did you say Chinwe?
Yeah.
Okay, Chinwe. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your vote. Chinwe takes that vote. All right. This is our 4th vote. If we can enable us hear you. Unfortunately, it's not working. Please. Hi there. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, please.
My name is Ansela.
Welcome, brother.
I am voting for Chinwe.
Okay. Any specific reason you want to share?
I am very convinced with her presentation.
Okay. Thank you
very much. Very constructive and very logical.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so we've had 4 votes and Chinwe has 3 of those 4 already.
Hello?
Well, since you're already here, hi there, good evening.
This is Akim. I'm calling from Mushin.
Okay, how do you vote, Hakim?
Yes, I vote for Chinwe. She has my vote.
Okay.
I'm pleased with the way she analyzed
All
her
right.
point.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So Buchi went for the maximum votes. Chinwe already has it. 4-1 as it turns out. So, how many more minutes do we have on social media, on Twitter?
On Twitter, to confirm
vote,
right now.
Try and confirm the votes.
We have 7 more minutes on
you
Twitter.
have 7 more minutes?
7 minutes on Twitter. And it's actually very close on
Very
Twitter.
close. At Nigeria Info FM, 7 more minutes left to vote.
Yep.
We've had over 150 votes. Drop your votes there. We are following through. Drop your comments as well. But don't drop your comment and forget to vote, because then it doesn't count. Okay? At Nigeria Info FM. You can also go and vote on Facebook, Nigeria Info 993 on Facebook. Just search for it. Nigeria Info. Space it. Nigeria space info space 99.3. Yes, 99.3. Okay. Let's come to the panel. It was interesting during the closing arguments. Buchi and Sarafina were having a separate debate. They were debating who will go first. Well, in the other debate, neither of them wanted to go. Now, Buchi wanted to go first. Sarafina wanted to go first.
She has to go.
Ladies first.
So, ladies first. So, you've learned to let her have her way.
Go.
Finally.
She wear white.
So, Sarafina,
thank
how do you vote?
Femi. I love this one. The two of you, I don't know what to say. I don't know the right words to qualify you, but I just want to say you guys were on fire tonight, and I totally enjoyed myself all through. Now, coming to the argument, Adeola, I think you were in a better position for me, from my own angle, to actually throw out some facts to Chinwe. First of all, you should have pointed out the fact that the just concluded African Women's Cup of Nations. How can a team who won the African Women's Cup of Nations not have the best player? Because the best player went to someone from Cameroon national team. That's also another angle to your argument. And also, you talked about something. You said the Super Eagles, when they play, they bring in more money. Chinwe would have countered you and said they bring in more money simply because they get more publicity than the Super Falcons, which is very, very obvious, which is what happens. And also, going into the argument, there have been places where when Chinwe talked about the trophies and the rest of it, you also talked about it's not possible for you to see the Super Eagles go to the World Cup and lose by 8-0, which we've seen from the Super Falcons. And also, we've also seen the way they perform when they get to the tournament itself. Coming to you, Chinwe, I must admit you did quite a good research. You talk about the trophies they've won and the rest of it. But I think to an extent you guys tried to limit the whole argument to Africa, because what I kept on hearing was AFCON. Although at some point you tried to bring in the world stage and the rest of it, but I would say 80%, both of you kept on talking about AFCON. This is not an AFCON argument. It's about the team success generally. When you talk about the team generally, you talk about the AFCON, you talk about every other tournament aside, even when you move outside the continent of Africa. So just for going forward, you need to take note of that. Now, coming to my vote, Femi, let me tell you this one. It's too close to call. Very, very close to call. But I'll stick with Adeola. Very close. 49 to 51.
Okay. So Adeola takes Sarafina's votes. It's done. Who goes next?
Make her go next.
Buchi, yeah.
Make her go next.
Yes, Buchi.
Number one.
So it's like we're moving in reverse this time.
Femi, honestly, don't be saying I didn't make mouth. I think this is one of the best arguments I loved. I love it. I did love it. So I'm going to say not shout, but this like, I believe if you don't shout, you're not going to make too much sense. Right there.
Nobody will hear you.
I'll give you a good example in Nigeria.
How you not going to believe so
now
when that's what you talk?
No, don't be so.
School. Oh, no.
One election time, don't nobody shout for us. So it doesn't really change anything. But honestly, I love the argument. And I like the point you made before they started, saying you might think that this person is here, this person is not here. Sarafina, right there, you said who you give advantage, that Chinwe had the advantage or something?
No, I said going into the argument from my point, Adiola had the advantage. From my point, that was what I said.
Your point,
because I had lots of facts to
thank
back
you so
it up.
much.
Yeah.
Your point is decimal point, right there. That is good. But I believe for me, looking at the argument brought out, I think nobody really had the advantage for me. I think the argument is how you put your facts and how you put it. And I love the way it started. The last argument started with Segun going on the offensive. It started also this one with Adiola going on the offensive. But the good thing about it was that Chinwe did not sleep. Chinwe came back because she prepared. Because Chinwe, one of the most entertaining person is Chinwe. But it was good. With Adiola's statement, I think our first point was the most important. For me. She mentioned three things that I'll be looking for the argument. Stiff opposition for the ladies. Right there. Level of competition. And also she said, how have the Falcons fared in the world? Adiola mentioned like 5 times. I was speaking it. How have the Falcons fared at the world? Those are the 3 points she made. And the good thing about it is that she was making this point when she was arguing, which was good. For Chinwe, she said, trophy is most important in football. Fact. If you know we, nobody go know you. Right there. And also she mentioned profit. Right there. I was like, profit? How? Right there. But it was good. And what I love about it was when the argument started properly, Adiola said the word, read to me quick, in case it's not listening.
Yes.
Read to me quick. She was listening to her. I was like, if now me do that, I go write out my mind, say, okay, this is what I'm going to do the first time. Read to me quick, I counter Chinwe point about, you said they win. Say African continent. How many don't win them? And Chinwe failed the question. Corrected her saying it's just Nigeria and Guinea. And which is a fact. Counter that argument. I was right on that argument, and the reason was so clear because it was that I think that was a huge point for me when she countered that statement. And it was good. The argument properly, it was like Ikechi and Yabasada the quarter, but it's good because I grew up on Facebook, so it's normal thing for me.
Muchi vote, so let's go home.
Going to the final statement right there. Chinwe focused on trophies and some other things. For me, I think Adiola killed her final statement. Honestly, for me, when she mentioned statistics about how good the Eagles have been, and also mentioned the business side. She said, with all due respect to the Falcons, let's be serious right here. I'm an advocate for paying the Falcons more money. But being honest right here, the Eagles bring more money than them.
Because they market them more.
If you, honestly, I put it for a fact.
That's a different debate. We don't have that time.
If you market the Falcons more and Falcons the Eagles more, the Eagles will make more than the Falcons. Not being anyhow right here. But I think I saw a different Adiola today. Honestly, I think she has grown. The last argument, she was calm and she fought back. This argument, she started fighting from the onset. Respect to Chinwe.
Chinwe is always on.
But I think this was a whitewash for me. Honestly, I think Adiola was on point. I think she made good points. She was fire. There was time she was even touching her hair. You want to come out here with phone. It was great for me. For me, everyone I'm going to go with Adiola. I think she had a great argument and she was fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. We've run out of time, gentlemen. Let's just pack it because we have to go because of the show. Chuma, you want to go next?
Yeah, let me just do this quickly because genuinely we don't have time anymore. I'm going for Adiola, and Chinwe did quite a great job in trying to argue her point out, and I thought her position was more difficult because female football is, we still have to accept it, not as popular as male football now, so it's easier for one to lean towards the Super Eagles than the Super Falcons. But she still made the case. I think I was quite impressed with the number of players she had as to starts that have won African Female Footballer of the Year compared to the Super Eagles team, and then hammering on that Africa Women's Cup of Nations triumph, the fact that we won it 11 of 13 appearances compared to the guys. But Adiola countered everything she threw at her, taking her time to tell me how many semi-final appearances the Super Eagles have had in the AFCON and how many final appearances where they have lost 4 and 3 that they have won was impeccable for me. And of course, that whole theory of global talk too. She said Super Falcons have gotten to the quarterfinal stage. I expected her to counter her and tell her Super Falcons quarterfinals in '99 was similar to second round of Super Eagles because that '99 Female World Cup did not have second round before quarterfinals. It was after group stage quarterfinals. Yeah, no time, so I wouldn't talk too much on what I think I should correct them on. But I think I was very impressed with the points made by the two ladies, and I'm going for Adiola.
All right. Sarafina did mention that they limited most of the conversation on the continent. Outside the continent, it's a different ball game. Super Eagles, the World Cup experience, and the fact that the Falcons have been playing both at the World Cup and the Olympics. which, and all of that, more opportunities, but not more advantage in terms of success, Okay. Honor?
Oh yeah, Femi, I think a brilliant argument. This is a judge's nightmare, really. However, I think it wasn't great that the both of them started their openings by saying that success was relative. What that means is that at the end, they cannot convince us if whatever they say doesn't matter. If success for me is dependent entirely on my perception of success. I didn't think that was good.
Precedence,
yeah. So, but then during the head-to-head, I saw fantastic arguments from the both of them, which makes my job very difficult tonight. Adiola said they are the most successful African team. What impressed me really is that the both of them had answers for the questions. For instance, when Adiola was asking, she said which quarterfinals, perhaps wanting to catch Chinwe off guard. Chinwe pointed out to the 1999, quarterfinals, and Chinwe also made a brilliant argument when Adiola was trying to de-emphasize on the 11/13 trophy success rate that the Falcons have when it comes to the Women's Nations Cup, by saying that it is testament to the fact that it's a weak competition. And Chinwe went on to say that, okay, what about Egypt that has won 7 times? Does it now mean that the men's game is weak because of the level of consistency that Egypt had showed? That it was actually as a result of the Falcons' consistency, not because they were facing weaker oppositions. And then Adiola kept on hammering on the point of 8-0, 8-0. The Super Eagles cannot lose 8-0. But if you do your research, you find that you could argue it was a long time ago. But in 1955, the Super Eagles lost by 7-0. But this is me pointing it out and not Chinwe. In the closings, I think Adiola's closing was brilliant. 14 semi-finals, 4 finals, 3 wins, quality opposition, business side of it, more attention than the Falcons. But I don't quite agree personally with the business side of, because the English Premier League may provide more revenue, but does that mean they play better football than maybe in Spain? That's an argument for another day. I think that all in all, Chinwe just pips it for me. I give my vote to Chinwe.
All right, thank you very much. We've got to go. So we'll say congratulations. Buchi, we've run out of time. We cannot take the comments.
Just vote.
We need to go to the votes.
Sharp. Make us start with Facebook. Sharp. Refresh for the last time. On Facebook, Chinwe takes Facebook with 58% of the vote, or Adiola 42% of the vote. So Chinwe takes Facebook. On Twitter, refreshing for the last time. Also, the poll is done. Also, Chinwe takes Twitter with 50% of the votes to Adiola 44%. So Chinwe takes Facebook and Twitter.
So Chinwe takes the audience via the phones, Twitter and Facebook, and Adiola takes the panel overwhelmingly 3-1. It's as close as you say it, but of course, interestingly, the panel has a proper job of making sure that those decisions are made based on a number of factors which we've enumerated several times in this contest, and which we cannot. We don't have enough time to enumerate today. And I will stick with that panel. It was close, but it has been decided. Having said that, we'll come quickly to, so Adiola, there were 60 marks available for the panel, and you took it. So it shapes it to your advantage. Chinwe, fantastic display for sweeping the audience vote. Yes, but for professionalism's sakes and all of that, I'll stick with the panel. And congratulations, Adiola. So you pick one of those two, give one back to me. That will determine your positioning in the next contest.
One.
That's Adiola. You'll be contestant number 1. You qualify automatically to the next stage. Tomorrow, you'll be contestant number 1. Chinwe, we have to make a decision, and we've run completely out of time, so we'll switch quickly. Adiola,
yeah,
you may take your position. We have to make a call between Labake and Chinwe on the night. Would ask this, okay? Yeah. Okay. So I guess it's the long shot. Oh, you've crossed the camera already. It's okay. Let's do this. Labake and Chinwe, we have to make a decision now between these two ladies. Panel, it's up to you. We don't have time. We just don't have time. Who would you vote for? The parameters are entirely yours. Whether you are voting for posterity's sakes or looking futuristically, or you want to base it purely on tonight's performance, you are well within your right to vote, even for whatever reason. So,
it's difficult to have to think too much when there's no time anymore. It's a shame. It's a shame. When it comes to consistency over time, I think Labake has shown so much promise. But I will base my own judgment tonight based on tonight's performance, unfortunately, because I don't have time to think and explain anything. So I'll go for Chinwe.
So Chinwe for Chuma. Who wants to go next? We're out of time. Ona?
Yeah, it's similar to what Chuma said. Labake has shown quite a lot of promise in my short time here. In fact, I would dare say that she has been one of my favorite persons, but no one gets to this stage if they haven't done really well. So the same also applies to Chinwe. It's hard for me to have to let Labake go, but on the basis of what I've seen tonight, the basis of who has tried to prepare to be here tonight and give her best, my vote goes to Chinwe.
All right. Sarafina?
You can't get to a final and decide to flop like Carol, so I'll go with Chinwe.
Chinwe. How about you, Buchi? Yes, go ahead.
For me also, I'll go with guys. Honestly, I think it's kind of difficult. Like Onas rightly said, I think Labake has been one of the best so far. But to get where he's supposed to reach, you don't need to step down, you need to step up. I think she totally messed up tonight in every way. Chinwe gets my vote.
All right. So, it has been decided, and look, there is no litigating how much of a heartbreak it is, but Labake's battle ends here tonight. I didn't love you, and we don't even have time for the music. Labake, you are awesome, no doubt, and I have no doubt. The words of this song take on specific meaning when it has to be sung for certain individuals whom I, at the risk of all my years of experience doing this job, can say these are people with a future in this line. And when you have to say bye-bye to some of those people, it is hard, it's heartbreaking, it's painful. But I realize it's only a temporary thing. It's a temporary thing. What are your parting words?
It's been a great run. I mean, goodness, I've learned so much. And I would always be grateful for this opportunity. So thank you very much. And a big congratulations to the guys. And I'm really, really proud of us leaders. We did this.
You did this. I'm proud of you too. Proud of you too. Into the final three we go with SEGUN, Chinwe, and of course Adeola. But give me the high five. You're close to me. We'll work together, God willing. Okay. Thank you very much for being a part of this contest.
Thank you very much.
And we'll have many more years of following you. You are a huge crowd favorite, and I'm sure you know that. Fantastic. Sarafina, Ona, Chuma, and Buchi, we got to go. Not even enough time to say bye. TG Banks is ready to take you through all things comedy on the night.
If I make you feel second best, please I'm sorry.